Hey everybody. For today's workout, we're going to start with an EMOM. So every minute on the minute for 10 minutes. We're going to do two different movements. On the odd minutes, we're going to do 20 opposites. On the even minutes, we're going to do a wall sit for 45 seconds. So most of that minute. Give you 15 seconds of rest before you move back to the opposite. So for the opposite, we're laying on the floor. And your shoulders start on the floor, feet start on the floor. You come up with straight legs and touch the opposite hand to the opposite foot. You do want to make contact hand to foot. The goal is to keep the legs straight here. If you get a little bend in the knee, you can see even in my video, I'm bending my knee a little bit there, more than I'd like to. So keep your legs straight. If you have to bend them, you bend them, but we're reaching for that opposite foot with the opposite hand and make some contact there. We're going to do 20 of them, so that's 10 on the right, 10 on the left. Then on the odd minutes, we're going to move on to the next movement, which is the wall sit. For the wall sit, you're going to need a wall. You get yourself seated up against the wall, and you're just holding it. It's an isometric hold. You're holding that position. You'll notice I'm not well below parallel in my squat as I would be if I were air squatting. That's not really where we want to be for this position. You want to push your shoulders and back up against the wall, push your butt against the wall, and keep your squat parallel. You want to keep the thighs parallel to the floor, so your hip crease is in line with the top of your kneecaps. As far as your squat stance, it should be the same squat stance that you're in normally when you squat, so wherever that is, shoulder width, toes out. Some of us have different stances, but that's basically where we want to be. And you don't want to lean forward. You don't want to lose that back to the wall position. That's where you want to be. And that's our wall sit. We're going to hold that for 45 seconds. So get a clock that beeps every minute, and it'll do that for 10 minutes. So when you finish your opposites, you don't move right into the wall sit. You wait until minute 2 starts to get that going, and then it goes on like that. So for the workout today, we only have the black. Okay, so everybody's doing 50 burpees because we're doing 10 rounds. Okay, and we're going to do 50 goblet squats. You choose the weight on the goblet squat, and there is no weight on the burpee or the eagle, which is a new movement for a lot of you. So let's talk about that one. So we're going to start with 20 eagles. Now for the eagle, you want to start with your hands out to the side. You're standing up straight, hands out right out to the side like a T, and then you're going to bring your hands up to touch. Just make contact. It's a very simple movement, looks very simple on paper. It does get difficult, and you will see that as you go here. If you're doing the full 10 rounds and the 20 reps, we're going to end up with 200 eagles, which is a lot of up and down with the arms there. So as far as the standard goes, there's nobody measuring where your hands are, but we want to start with your hands out just to the side, so even with your shoulders, and then make contact with your hands at the top. And then when you return, when you start your next rep, you want to come right back down to where you started. So hands just out in line with your shoulders, and then contact at the top. The next movement we're going to do is the burpee. Everyone knows the burpee. We go standing up. We go chest to the floor, and then you jump and clap with your hands over your head. There's a couple of standards that we want to think about. Your chest does need to touch the floor, not your stomach. It's okay if your stomach touches, but we're looking for the chest to get to the floor. And we're looking for full hip and knee extension with a clap overhead. The point in clapping overhead is to get your hands up over your head. If you're clapping over your head, your hands need to be over your head. Hands up over your head helps get your hips extended and your knees extended, and that's why we're doing that. When you come up off the floor into the jump, you should go wide with your feet. If you watch the way I'm doing the burpee here, I come up from the floor, I'm wide in the feet, nice flat foot, stable stance, and then I jump. If you come close and you go to your toes, you're going to end up all your weight's going to be on your knees, and you're going to be on your toes, and you're going to lean forward. It's not a great position, so try to go wide. The next and final movement we're going to do in the triplet here is going to be the goblet squat. Now, I'm using a kettlebell here, but you can use anything that has some weight to it. Choose your weight. I was using a loaded paint can, a full paint can when I was doing this in my home. So obviously just get creative with it, but get something in your hands. If you have a kettlebell, great. And we're going to do the goblet squat. The goblet squat is a full squat. So we're in our squat stance, shoulder width apart with the feet and toes pointed slightly out, butt back and down. We're going to break parallel. So that means the hip crease is going to be below the top of the kneecap. And then you finish the squat by standing all the way up, knee and full hip extension. As far as the goblet or kettlebell or whatever you're holding, you want to keep that as close to your chest as possible. Don't let it get away from you. Try to keep your elbows under the object, not out to the side, not behind it, and keep that vertical back as much as you can. We're going to do this 10 rounds for time. So it's 20 eagles, 5 burpees, 10 goblet squats. If you do the math there, we're looking at 100 goblet squats. We're looking at 200 eagles, and we're looking at 50 burpees. If that volume is too heavy for you, too much for you, just scale the reps down. But I think we can all handle this. And remember, if you're in the burpee challenge, all of these burpees count. So you'll have 50 burpees at the end of this workout. We're looking for 1,000 in the month of April. Hopefully you guys are participating. Log your scores on Beyond the Whiteboard. I will see you tomorrow.